Hey, what's up YouTube? My name is Call, and over the past 4 years, I've been creating backcountry recipes so that I can eat cheaper, healthier, and overall better when I'm in the backcountry. So if that sounds like your vibe, come follow along, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you never miss a recipe. I'm trying to put out a recipe once every week or definitely every month, so be sure not to miss out. So subscribe to make sure you don't miss out. Today we're going to be making one of my absolute favorite recipes, and this is a Chinese style congee, and this is the perfect breakfast meal for you. So let's get into it. If you don't know what congee is, it's essentially a Chinese version of porridge or oatmeal. It's a rice-based dish and it's super customizable, which is what I love about it. We're gonna be adding a bunch of different ingredients, but you can swap things out depending on your taste preferences or what you have in your pantry. This congee is really good for like a day 2 breakfast is when I generally like to put it in my meals because it's super hearty and super filling. And so this is really good for if you're going on a big day hike and you're going to be doing a huge ascent, or even if you're just prepping for a nice descent for the day. This would be a good recipe for that. So without further ado, let me show you the ingredients we're working with today. Just as a disclaimer, before we get into it, the way that I cook my backcountry meals is a little bit different than the way that maybe other people do it. And so I'm focused primarily on taste and feeling warm at the end of the night and stuff like that. So my meals might be a little bit heavier. I do my best to aim for lighter weight ingredients. And so that's why we're using like dried mushrooms and pork floss. And if you don't know what pork floss is, you got to get on that because it's delicious. But this congee meal will come in at 206 grams. That's how much it weighs for me when I put it on my scale earlier today. And so this might not be the option for you if you're super into saving weight and stuff like that. But for me, I'm about flavor and I'm about feeling like home when I'm in the backcountry and being super content with what I eat. So this is how I cook. Let's get into the ingredients. Our main ingredient is going to be rice. This is going to form the base of our congee, and here I have 3/4 of a cup of rice, and I'm using instant rice because it just gets to the right texture a lot quicker than if I was bringing up normal rice. If you wanted to bring up normal rice, you definitely could do that. The only stipulation behind that is that it's gonna take way more gas than you want, and so this just helps be more efficient on gas. And so try to bring up minute rice or instant rice if you can. In terms of like the main salty flavor that we're gonna be going for, primarily that is gonna be coming from our chicken broth. And I love getting chicken broth like this. You can get it off of Amazon, that's where I got it off of, but they come in little cubes that are like individually portioned and packaged. And so these are great to bring up into the backcountry because it's a huge boost of flavor and you can use it to create a whole host of meals. Things like chicken pho, or even like using it for like a chicken noodle soup or something like that. These are awesome for. You can also bring up a powdered form of chicken broth. This way it's portioned out for you already, and so I find these a lot easier. In terms of what we're going to be putting into the congee, the main thing that we're going to be using is these dehydrated mushrooms. I love these. They come pre-dehydrated. I found it at my local Asian grocer known as TNT here. I love these because like these are actually shiitake mushrooms and the flavor is incredible. It really adds to our congee. 3 more toppings we have. One is going to be a pork floss. So if you haven't had this before, it's like, pork floss sounds like a really awful ingredient, but I don't even really know what's in here, but it tastes delicious and you want to add it onto your congee if you can. If you can't get behind the name, substitute it with something like seaweed or something like that, because but if you can, try this out. You can find it at your local Asian grocer. It's usually in a big tub. I'll link it in the description below because I just want you to try this because we used to eat this all the time at home and you could just like, you can munch through this. So try this out. These are preserved vegetables and I love these as well because they come all pre-packaged. This is honestly a lot for one person. So if two people are making congee, it's really great to split this, but this just adds a bit of a pickled sour element to the dish, which actually helps to round out all the flavors that are going on here. Last but not least, one of my favorite ingredients is green onions. These are fresh ones and you can bring them up in different ways. If you are bringing green onions up into the backcountry, sometimes it's good to actually wet a paper towel, squeeze it out, wring it out, and then wrap the green onions in there. It helps to preserve them. But for today, I didn't do that because I was too lazy. They'll just add a nice pop of color to the dish and also bring some more flavors into our dish. That's all our ingredients for this. Let's get cooking. Okay, so getting started with our recipe, I like to put the rice and the mushrooms in advance. So everything's all in here, and then I can pour the water on top. Next up, we're gonna be adding our water. Get that on the boiler. Today I'm using the Jetboil Minimo because this recipe in particular takes a bit of time. I love its simmer control. And especially on a dish like this, you don't want the bottom of your pot to burn. So managing your temperature is like really important. So Jetboil Minimo, generally really good for that. But if you don't have a Jetboil Minimo, that's also fine. You just have to regulate your temperature a little bit better. And so sometimes that looks like taking it off and on the heat a little bit, or just watching how much of the flame is hitting the pot. So it's a very active process, but I believe in you. You can do it. Hopefully we have enough rice. So now that I'm coming to a boil, I'm gonna add in my chicken broth cube and we can stir that around. Yeah, it's really important here to be regulating your temperature, and just my left hand's generally on the regulator. Just let that stir. The constant stir is also helpful, just to make sure nothing gets to the bottom and gets stuck to the bottom. So right now my rice looks cooked, and it is technically cooked. But the key to taking this into a congee and more of a porridge is to overcook this rice. So we're gonna continue stirring, continue riding the bottom, making sure that nothing is sticking to the bottom, keeping it on a low heat, continue as normal. So I'm gonna take this off the heat for a sec because I wanna tell you about a little trick, and I'm not even sure if it's gonna work or not. So this works at home, but I'm not sure if this is entirely gonna work out here. But when I make congee at home, one of the ways that I get the texture that I wanna get is I use a whisk and I whisk the rice. It's a way to get the texture right, but all I have out here is this fork, and so this is the closest thing I have to a whisk. So I'm gonna whisk this up with a fork and I'm gonna see if it works. So let's try and see. Okay, can confirm. Fork is not an ideal substitution for a whisk. So if you want to bring a whisk to the backcountry, you'll get better texture, but I don't really want to carry that up. So fork does whatever, but you can continue boiling it as well in order to get the right consistency. I want to show you that these grains are still too put together, and so we want this to even cook more. So continue scraping the bottom, letting it go down, trying not to let it burn the bottom like I'm doing now. Oh, this is good though. So we're getting to a texture right now that's a lot more similar to what I'm hoping for. It's still a little bit under, but that's okay. Like, it's really up to how you prefer it. I generally like it a little bit more soft, so I'm gonna keep it going. The mushroom flavors are coming out compared with the chicken flavor. Oh my gosh, it is pretty delicious out here. And we haven't added even the toppings yet. Is there a fire here? Okay. Set it aside. Okay, so now we're at the texture and the consistency that I'm hoping for. I like the way that this is looking. The rice is getting a little bit broken, but there's still a little bit of like texture to the rice, which is really nice. And so now we're gonna add our toppings. So we're gonna add our last ingredients. We have our pork floss, our preserved vegetables, and our green onions. So that's how you make Chinese style congee. Remember, if you liked what you saw here, don't forget to subscribe. We'd love to have you along for the journey. We're gonna be putting out recipes every week or every other week. It's gonna be awesome, so make sure you don't miss out. So now I gotta go eat this, and I'm gonna go enjoy this. See you later. Boy, it's so hot, bro.